days, processing what's happened. I've done some internet research, and I don't think people in high places will want this getting out, but I have to tell it, for Catherine's sake. This all started on Sunday when Kathy came round to my apartment. I'd known her since university, and while we weren't particularly close back then, our friendship had grown over the last few years. We'd been planning on a girls' night out for a few weeks, and she'd come around to fill up on pizza before we hit the town. We watched an episode of Stranger Things 2, and chatted about the usually insane drunk you talk about with friends. She kept coming back to being annoyed that she'd been passed up for a promotion at work by this guy called Chad, and I kept trying to change the subject to distract her from it. In the hall, we decided to head out to a local bar. Kathy wanted to watch another episode, but I insisted we get out privately and hoped that she'd cheer up a bit. We headed out to the hall and Kathy called the elevator. You know how when you press the elevator up and down button, they usually light up? They certainly do in my apartment building. Well, this time they didn't initially. That was the first weird thing. Kathy pressed the down button a few more times, but still nothing. We looked at each other, more annoyed than confused. Well, that's weird, I said. They were working earlier today. Then the up button lit up. Now the looks we changed were confused. We just looked at each other confused, and then Kathy piped up, "Well, it shouldn't matter anyway. We can still go down to the bottom anyway. I've never understood why we have these up and down buttons anyway." I chuckled a bit at that, but it was more nervous laughter than anything. I know I had no reason to think the elevator was anything more than a bit broken, but I had a bad feeling already about the whole thing. The elevator system had been fine the whole time I've been there, though, so I dutifully waited for it to arrive. Now my apartment building is only 9 floors high. I think the longest I've ever waited for an elevator is maybe about a minute. After more than 2 minutes of waiting, my patience has run out. This is taking way too long. Let's take the stairs. I'm not walking down 7 sets of stairs, Mary, Kathy complained. The thing is probably broken. There's no point waiting any longer. Now there was a grinding noise from the elevator shaft. Nothing overly dramatic or loud, more of a groan. But I and Kathy both clearly heard it. I thought I'd won the argument. See? Broken. It's stair time. No, that means it is coming, and it must be loaded up from other floors. Apparently my appalling joke had not worked, and had only made her more stubborn. I tried one last time. Look at that. I pointed at the up button, whose light was now flashing quickly on and off. Tell me that looks like an unbroken elevator. Well, of course, the light is broken. The bottom one didn't turn on at all, and now the top one is burning out as well. I looked up into my friend's eyes and saw that I wasn't going to move her. Kathy's pointlessly stubborn, and she was going to wait for this elevator to prove me wrong, even if I delayed the night by half an hour. I saw it in her eyes, and I gave up. Fine, I surrendered, holding up my hands heading towards the stairs on the other side of the hall. Text me when your stubborn side wears off, and you decide to take the stairs like a normal person. I wish I had said something nicer. Walking towards the stairwell, I heard a singular laugh behind me. Then I heard Kathy scream. It was the worst thing I'd ever heard. It wasn't just a scream. It sounded like it was cut up, segmented, like she stopped for a millisecond and then started screaming again on loop. And it was mixed with a low throbbing mechanical buzz. I turned around in shock. It couldn't have taken me more than about a second but in that time her scream had already been cut off permanently, and she was gone. I only caught a glimpse of the closing elevator doors. Behind them I saw an intricate network of cogs and gears of all sizes, same as tall as the lift itself. Almost what I remember the inside of a watch looks like, almost beautifully engineered, but every cog and wheel had edges and spikes as sharp as knives. Among them, I saw a pale hand before the elevator doors closed. Oh my God. After a moment of utter shock, I ran down the stairs, taking them 3 or 4 at a time, all the way to the ground floor. When I reached it, I pressed both buttons repeatedly as hard as I could. There I waited for what felt like hours, but was probably more like 5 minutes. In that time, I had imagined the doors opening and seeing the elevator cab bare, Kathy nowhere to be seen. Everything normal. When they did open, Kathy wasn't there after all. But the cab was no longer its silver usual self. It was liquid red. I called the police, explained to them what happened, but of course they didn't believe me. They treated me as a suspect for a while, but soon concluded that a small, out-of-shape woman couldn't cause the utter carnage that was evident in that elevator in so short a time without anyone noticing. As it stands, Kathy's body hasn't been found, and neither I or Kathy's family had heard anything from the authorities since Tuesday. I still can't quite accept that Kathy's gone. I've just shut myself in my room trying to process all this madness. I've been trying to keep myself semi-sane by researching, and I found some things I think are a bit odd. After digging around a bit, I found that there had not been a single logged instance of an elevator broken down in this apartment, or any elevator system built by the same company in the last 10 years. And that company has some weird connections. It also owns companies connected with food production, agriculture, and architecture. It seems this apartment building was built by a company owned by the same elevator company, something that doesn't seem at all usual as far as I can see. Something weird is going on here. I'm drawing some conclusions that I don't like at all, and I don't know if these companies will like me saying all this. As it stands, my family is getting more and more worried about me, but I keep telling them I'm fine, and above all, not to come visit me. I'm just scared they won't listen to me when I tell them to use the stairs. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell beside it and select the box. This way you'll be notified for any new videos. Thank you for watching.